Good evening from Swansea wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are listening to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. Thank you for joining us here today. We're going to be talking about last night's episode of WWE Raw. Some people liked the episode, some people didn't. And we're going to be breaking it down to you today on Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. But firstly, let me introduce the panel for the show. Usually when, I introduce myself from Swansea, I'm more often than not the only one on the podcast from Wales. But today it is a Wales special because everybody here is from Wales or is in Wales right now. Firstly, the host to take it to the table, Chaos. How are you, Chaos?
What's up? Happy Tuesday, everybody. As you can see right now, even though I am in Wales, I am in my take it to the table universe with this new setup, new angle, everything like that. It's to the point I'm still getting used to it because I'm usually looking upwards and I just realized that the camera's there. But yeah, it's all good. We're going to talk about Raw, a lot to unpack, and I can't wait. Let's get straight to it. Team Wales.
Absolutely, and the new camera angle looks great. But also joining us today, also from Wales, we have David Sheldon. How are you, David?
Shmai! Croeso Wrestling Republic, David Ydw. That's the entirety of my knowledge of Welsh. Thank you for translate.
Better than me.
Better than me too.
Talking Monday Night Raw. Apologies if there are any sound issues on my end today. My microphone decided not to work, so we're going microphone-less. This was, I thought, a mixed Raw, and I'm going to say that being nice. You'll hear my complaints as we go through the show, but there was some good stuff on this show, and I am excited to talk about it, so let's get at it.
Absolutely, let's get straight to it, and let's firstly get straight to how Raw opened, and that was with the Judgment Day. It's a common theme nearly every week on Raw. It opens with this faction, but notably, Finn Balor was missing this week, and Priest acknowledged it right away. He said that Balor should be there. He doesn't understand why he is not there, but he, clearly was not there. Then JD McDonagh, who of course we saw last week, before last week, and before the SummerSlam Battle Royale, the Slim Jim Battle Royale, we haven't seen in quite a while. He came out and he said that he has a message from Finn Balor to the Judgment Day, and that message is they have nothing to worry about his friendship with Finn. But the Judgment Day were not too happy about that. They said, you should not be getting involved in Judgment Day business, JD. And when I was writing my notes for this show, I realized the irony in it, that of course they called the Judgment Day, and it's JD McDonagh. So Judgment Day McDonagh. I know it's actually Jordan Devlin, but yeah, that was something which was quite funny. But in the end, that leaded to Sami Zayn versus JD McDonagh in the next segment, where Balor did show up to help, and he tried to help JD get the victory, but unfortunately, it didn't work, and McDonagh lost the match. Sami Zayn got the victory in that one. But then throughout the night, throughout the show, they like to keep a story going on Raw, and more often than not, that is involving the Judgment Day. And they did it this week because the Judgment Day got back on the same path. Finn Balor and Damian Priest fist bumped again. They're all good. Damian Priest got Finn Balor's jacket for him. They're all best friends again. Water under the bridge. They're all fine. But then in the main event, it was Finn Balor versus Cody Rhodes. We saw this quite a few times on the road to WrestleMania, but they decided to run it back tonight on Raw. And just like, at SummerSlam, Damian Priest tried to help Finn Balor. He put the briefcase in the ring, but it went under Finn Balor's legs, and Cody Rhodes used it to his advantage. Clark isn't on the show today, but if he was, I can assure you he'd not be too happy about a baby face, using a heel tactic like that. But Cody Rhodes, he played the cards that he was dealt. But in the end, the Judgment Day were getting beat down by Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn before JD McDonagh evened the odds, I guess, although it was still a 3-2 advantage. So I don't really understand how they were being overwhelmed. But JD McDonagh helped out, and the Judgment Day was standing tall, finishing the show with JD McDonagh standing outside the ring. Now, there's two questions coming out of this segment, right? Coming out of, this Raw involving the Judgment Day. And that is, firstly, is JD McDonagh joining Judgment Day? The second question is JD McDonagh going to replace Finn Balor in Judgment Day? Because I have a feeling that that's the way this is going to go. And I actually, I said, on yesterday's show, we were talking about who could defeat Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. Well, after this show, I believe it could be Jordan Devlin. I really, really do. We know the history between those two guys, and that would, be certainly interesting to run that back. I'd be down for it. I know that for sure. But also, I have a feeling that Finn Balor is going to bring JD into Judgment Day. He's going to win the Intercontinental Championship. Balor's going to be the only one without a belt once Damian Priest cashes in. And at that point, they will kick Finn Balor out of Judgment Day, and they're going to do a JD McDonagh, Finn Balor feud. But Chaos, do you think I'm getting ahead of myself here, or do you think that could possibly happen?
Yes, you're getting ahead of yourself right there, bro. I don't know where they're going with this JD McDonagh thing. I really feel like it's either gonna be that he does join the Judgment Day, or Finn is gonna leave, and then they're gonna probably do their own thing, Finn and JD, and probably do like a tag team thing, and maybe they'll be good contenders for Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn's championships if they actually come back, or if Kevin Owens comes back in due time. But yeah, this I don't know what to say about this whole thing. This whole episode of Raw just stunk of filler. I don't know what it was. I just wasn't really engaged into this episode as much. And this episode, all the segments that Judgment Day were in, it just didn't grab me in as much. So I didn't really, maybe that's why I didn't really look into it too deep and see where they could go. Me personally, I don't think JD McDonagh is the right person to take the title from Gunther. I think the next person should be Sheamus. That'd be a fairy tale ending.
Okay.
I don't know how they're going to do it. Obviously, I know SmackDown and Raw, but then again, they don't really follow their own rules regarding that.
True.
But yeah, I do feel like Sheamus would definitely be the next best person to take the title away from Gunther afterwards. And then Gunther's obviously levels up and then goes for the world title. But yeah, this yeah, I don't know where they're going with this kind of thing with JD and stuff. He's obviously trying to cause some divide within Judgment Day. He's saying that he isn't, but he's a smart guy. That kind of he knows what he's doing. So I feel like it's more than likely leaning towards that Finn is gonna depart from him, because at the end of the day, he is basically the weakest link in Judgment Day. So he doesn't need to actually bring people in. He needs to leave Judgment Day. So yeah, and then they do their own thing and then just take it from there. So yeah, sorry Ben, I think you're getting ahead of yourself about him being the Intercontinental Champion, but that's why I think they're leading to, definitely.
Well, hopefully this is one of my predictions which I'll get right, and hopefully not one of the ones where I just get it completely wrong. That seems to be what it is. It's either I get it completely wrong or I get it completely right. It's one or the other. It's not I get it partially right or something. It's one extreme or the other with me. But we got a couple of comments here. Firstly, from Source King, who was saying there is so much filler lately, it feels like, but the long-term storytelling is what we want, and that's a good point. Yeah. I did feel like, the Judgment Day on this week's show really did, they worked towards a longer-term storyline, and I complained for weeks and weeks about how JD McDonagh just disappeared off WWE TV. Well, he's back now, and they're telling a story, and I'm all for it. It feels, a little bit more fresh, despite the fact it's mostly the same people, just because of JD's involvement. So I'm not going to complain about the Judgment Day part of it too much. But Numero One Superfly is saying that it personally, to him, it felt like a nothing show. But David, I'll throw it to you. Do you think that, this Judgment Day stuff on Raw was, building towards a bigger storyline? Or do you think that it kind of felt a bit directionless to you? Give me your thoughts.
Well, I think it's certainly building to something. I think the problem you have with Judgment Day is they've essentially done the same segment every week for the last month. You have your opening Judgment Day promo where they tell you how good they are. There's some backstage tension. There's a main event involving some combination of Sammy, Cody, or Seth, and it's a little bit kind of same thing. JD McDonagh has added life to that. Absolutely, he has. I thought he was really good on this show. And I thought that little element in there certainly helped matters because they did kind of, again, it's the same. They cut the same promo. They always. This is a minor gripe, but it does frustrate me when Damian Priest goes on about how unstoppable Finn Balor is. I get Dom saying that, but it does make Priest look a bit rubbish. If Priest turned around and said, "No, I can't even say that anymore," I think that would further thing without making it look like Priest is actively lying to himself because Finn's lost every week for the last 2 months now. I think that there's obviously lots to unpack in this from the Judgment Day perspective. I thought the opening segment was pretty good. I thought Sammy and JD I thought was excellent. I really liked the story, and I think JD looked really good. Then obviously you had the Rhea Ripley stuff, where she continues to spin her wheels by beating Indy Hartwell in a fairly clunky match that I don't know why Indy got a video package telling you who she was, hyping her up for her to then lose very easily. I get it; it's not her story right now, but whatever. There was that. There was obviously the same backstage promo you've seen 100 times with, can they coexist, Finn and Priest. The main event with Finn and Cody I thought was fine. It's a bit boring. The same stuff we've seen every week. It was the same moves with nothing particularly interesting until the end. I thought I liked the Wile E. Coyote through the legs and the face by Finn Balor before he gets decked with the briefcase. That was fun. And I liked the ending with JD making the difference again. I think we're building to JD versus Cody. I think that could be our next program. Whether that's a pay-per-view match or a high-profile Raw match, I don't know. But I think Cody will be relishing this opportunity to try and get somebody over because he loves these kind of matches. You see the Darby Allin stuff he did, the weekly TNT title stuff. He'll probably beat JD, but he'll give him a good showing. And I think that will be because who else is there left for Cody? Drew is doing stuff with Riddle right now, who was my own pick. And otherwise, you've got Priest, who he's faced loads, Balor, who he's faced loads, and Dom, who he's faced. So there's nobody really left in Judgment Day for Cody to feud with now. So I think JD wrestling Cody is kind of a litmus test for him in the Judgment Day. Could be really cool. Whether he joins the Judgment Day, I don't know. He probably will. Whether he usurps Balor, I don't know. I'm willing to see where that goes. But I think it's a very slow-moving story. But JD coming back to television has certainly helped.
Absolutely. No, I 110% agree with you there, David. And I do like that prediction as well about, JD versus Cody. That could be very fun. I personally think it's probably going to go Cody Priest again, purely because, they love they love running back those feuds, and they also love having the Money in the Bank holder in feuds where they will lose. And that whoever Cody feuds against, he's going to win. But we got a comment here from Source King who was saying Finn needs to stop losing. And nobody. I mean, this is you're muted, Chaos. But this is the
Go. Sorry, my bad. I'm cutting you off.
This is it's the smallest surprise in wrestling, right? But Finn, but nobody has lost as many TV matches in any company this year than Finn Balor has. And that's not a shock, but it's 60 matches he's lost on TV or something.
I couldn't believe that when you put that stat up. That was insane. That's what I was trying to say. I was like, really? Has he lost that much? I was like,
I get the story now is that he is losing, and that's the point. I get that. I just wish, as I said, they wish that Priest would stop saying how unstoppable he is. Dom doing it is fun because Dom is an idiot. But Damian Priest is your Money in the Bank holder and your super serious main event player. And he's there going, yeah, Finn Balor's amazing. Yeah, he totally doesn't lose every week. No, sir. And it's just, if that's the gimmick, fine. But after a while, you have to start thinking, is that undermining Priest's credibility when he is just a bit of an idiot?
Yeah. No, that's a great point. And admittedly, I made a slight mistake. Some of them were on live events as well, some of those losses. There's not been 60 episodes of Raw this year so far. But
it's only 52 weeks in a year.
Yeah, that would be, you have to work two matches a night at this point. Even then, I think you'd be just slightly short. But that would be
3 hours somehow.
That's true. With all the tags, who knows? Maybe more than on TV than I realized. But it is one of those things, isn't it? Where they need to, they need to work out what they're doing with Finn. Because yes, now the entire thing is he's on, a losing streak. but he got a title shot and they were not making out that he was on a losing streak. Oh, God. It is one thing. They need to have plans for Finn Balor. He's somebody who I think we all thought had potential. And I wrote an article earlier this year, cheap plug, on, how I thought they should, how they should book JD McDonagh on the main roster. It was when he first came up. And they've completely gone against that, by the way. That's completely outdated at this point. But I still think the same thing could apply where Finn Balor ends up turning face through the storyline. And that's how we get that face version of Balor back. And then perhaps he gets a world title run that way as a one-off.
Yeah, it's just bizarre with JD, just quickly. It's bizarre to me that JD literally disappeared off television in the build to the Finn Seth match and then just magically reappeared again. It's kind of undermined it because now it just feels like, oh, we're back to, it's like, just put that on the back burner, get rid of you for a few months. Have you be thrown out by Omos in 5 seconds. And now we're supposed to buy him as this main event talent facing Sami Zayn and giving Sami a run for his money. Come on.
Yeah. No, that's a great point.
It was ill timed how because I do remember, they did put him on predominantly, and obviously he just disappeared. And then obviously I read that they just put things on hold for the time being. And then that really does damage it because you should have like it planned it well in advance. But they just rushed it, and then now it's just out of nowhere, like you said. But I do feel like the best thing would be for him to split from Judgment Day to talk about Finn and then do something with JD, because obviously JD is meant to be the one to grab him out of it, and then whether it be a face run or continue being heel, because I love Finn as a heel. He's very great at it. So we'll just have to see how it goes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. Certainly, we've got Matt Williams in the comments saying that he is here to announce that he will be joining the Judgment Day, and saying that he wanted to break the news here first, as we've been working hard. Thank you, Matt. But
Matt, well done. Props to you.
We wish you all the luck in having to do 3 promos every week on Raw. But now let's move on and let's talk about the women's division. Let's specifically talk the women's tag team championships, because of course Chelsea Green was tag team champions with Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville is unfortunately hurt. Get well soon, Sonya. Let's hope you come back better than ever. And I was enjoying them as a tag team. I really was. But now what do you do with these titles? Sonya's injured. Well, Chelsea Green entered at Adam Pearce's office. He was about to strip her of the title, and she was having none of it. She was threatening to talk to his manager, PR, everybody, right? And she pitched the idea of Chelsea's Got Talent, what she's been teasing all week on social media, and it's been great. I've loved it. I thought, this is perfect. This is right up WWE's alley. You could not, it's a perfect idea for them. Really, really is. Creative can, have a field day with this. Will be super fun. But no, I don't. They don't want to do that. Instead, Pippa Niven walked in and just took one of the titles, and now seemingly she's one half of the tag team championships. So that's something. I mean, I really feel like it's a missed opportunity here with Chelsea's Got Talent. Yes, it's cringe, but if anybody can pull that off, it's Chelsea Green. And WWE are great at these, these funny segments. I feel like they've kind of missed it here. But Chaos, give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I agree. I was definitely looking forward to seeing the potential of Chelsea's Got Talent. I think that would have been awesome backstage segments to see. But yeah, on the other hand, I was quite excited to see Piper Niven come out of nowhere, and she's claiming to be one half of the tag team champions. I feel like the dynamic can be great in terms of she'll be the one that will be what's the word I'm looking for, she'll be, obviously she's gonna be the powerhouse, and probably she's gonna be the one that's always saving the team to and Chelsea Green is just obviously just getting her ass whooped like left, right, and center. But yeah, it was I'm excited to see. I'm liking it. I do agree. I do wish that we did have Chelsea's Got Talent. I think that would have been funny just seeing all these random indies coming in with these crazy gimmicks, and and then then eventually you get up to lead up to maybe Piper Niven being her partner. But yeah, I have no gripes with it. When I saw Piper Niven come in and say like, I'll be your tag team champion, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm digging it. glad she's getting TV time because she is sorely missed, and she could be a good contender for even Rhea Ripley's title. I think she's great. I do like her.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
I mean, I do agree with you there, Kate. Sorry, not to cut you off.
no, it's cool.
but I do agree. Pippa Niven, she's been amazing. I've watched her for years, but I don't know. Do you still think she could get to that level in WWE?
Oh yeah, 100%. I enjoyed her in NXT UK. Like obviously the Doudrop thing definitely derailed her severely. But I feel like as soon as she got her actual name back, at the Rumble, with enough, screen time and whatnot, and then just concentrate on her and focus her to making her make her believable to be a worthy challenger. She could definitely be in the title scene. Because like Rhea Ripley needs challengers other than Raquel and whoever else, Natalia and Indy Hartwell. Poor Indy, by the way. That was unfortunate.
Poor Indy, she was.
But yeah, definitely Pippa Niven is a worthy contender, 110%. Yeah.
Go for it, David.
Before we move on very quickly, I have a major bugbear with this segment that's got nothing to do with any of the content of the segment itself. Well, actually, no, that's technically not true. So I am a big film guy. I'm currently a film student at university.
Yeah.
And there was the three worst words in script writing came up during this segment, which is, as you know. Adam Pearce. I hate it so much. If you already know, why are you telling her? I get it. You want to recap what happened in the week before. But literally, he's on screen and he goes, as you know, here's the story. And also, as you know, here's what happened 2 weeks ago. And also, as you know. It's like, can't we find a more interesting way to get around this than as you know? It's the worst three words. Any film that uses the words as you know, dock it half a star immediately.
Damn. Okay. I got now I gotta look into that and see how many films I can see that. Like
so many. You will find it everywhere. Once you hear it, you can never unhear it.
Thank you for thinking that.
Here's the thing, Chaos. I've always been told not to watch a film with a film critic, and now I've realized why. Because David, you've just spoiled every film ever for me, which has as you know in it. Oh gosh, man, that's brilliant. Numero one Super Live saying, do you think they should do a behind the scenes where talent, could audition for Chelsea, but then Pippa Niven just beats everyone up, and that's how should they do? I mean, yeah, I guess they could still do it.
Should have been this week's segment.
Yeah.
This should have been this week's segment.
True,
that would have been really funny. Really fun. Or the other option is have a different partner every week. Have them and literally just keep changing WWE.com to a different tag partner and have Adam Pearce go, you can't keep just changing the tag team champions. And she just keeps threatening to call the lawyers. Something that's not just, that's that story done. I'm still hoping that's where they're going to go, or they're going to do something with it. Because this is so much more interesting than what they've just done, which is just splice somebody in there. As much as I love Piper.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt Williams says that was awesome. I agree. That was... Oh, David has ruined every film for me ever, though. But fantastic point. But now let's move on, and let's move on to a comment earlier in the show by Source King, who was saying the Drew and Riddle stuff makes no sense, in my opinion. Well, let's talk about it, because when McIntyre arrived at Raw last night, Riddle basically forced him to team up with him against the Viking Raiders later in the night. McIntyre tried to get a word in, but ended up just being like, yeah, sure. The duo defeated Viking Raiders. Fun match, nothing too special. And then it led to post-match Riddle saying to McIntyre, yo, bro, we should be the tag team champions, bro. And the New Day came in and were like, what? No, you're not even a real tag team. That's not how it works. We're back here now. We want those tag team championships. And you're not going to, skip the line. So that match is now official next week. New Day versus Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle. And Drew McIntyre is definitely turning heel on Riddle, isn't he? I mean, this is so obvious, and I don't hate it whatsoever, because you need heel challenges for Seth. Obviously, they got Shinsuke for, payback, but, do the McIntyre-Riddle feud, then you've got McIntyre versus Seth after that. So I'm completely fine with it personally. But David, give me your thoughts on this one.
So during the Drew McIntyre and Riddle versus the Viking Raiders match, Wade Barrett called the team the Edinburghs and then joked, oh, he's not from Edinburgh, he's from Ayr in Scotland. After the show, Riddle called them Glasbros. Glasgow's not near Ayr either. It was fine. This was all absolutely fine. I think there are better things to be doing with Riddle and Drew right now than this. But the match itself was fun enough, bit clunky in places, but and the crowd was completely dead. There was wrestling happening, Winnipeg. You can wake up. But this was the worst contender. The crowd were dead as doornails for most of this until Drew got in, and then they went dead. But it was just a fine enough match. I think the New Day match will be really fun next week. I thought the backstage segment was quite funny with the New Day because they're great. But it was, I think there are better things to be doing with both these guys. But if it does lead to a Drew heel turn, I'm fine with that. I've wanted heel Drew for a while.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, the only advantage of keeping him as a face was the Gunther feud. They've done that now. So now there's little to no reason why. Unless Priest is, about to win the title off Seth, and then he'll go the other way. Then we won't have enough faces or something like that, But, I mean, they could just have Kevin and Sammy drop the titles, and then they'll be fine there, though, too. But, yeah, numero one Superfly says, unless they have, Drew turn heel to be annoyed by Riddle being Riddle, I don't think that this team is necessary. I'll agree there. And then Matt Williams saying, having the segment right before the match was a little weird, lol. He should have, showed him asking more than Drew, lol. Yeah, I mean, I do agree. It felt awfully rushed, but I think they are rushing because they need heels for Seth. If I'm wrong on that one, then yeah.
Riddle has had so many Franken partners. He's had Drew McIntyre, he's had Elias, he's had Randy Orton, he's had Pete Dunne, he's had Timothy Thatcher, and I think I'm missing people as well. I'm convinced I'm missing people somewhere in that list. He just seems to be, what do we do with Riddle?
Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn.
That's the one. Just throw him with anybody. Throw him with anybody. Who can we throw him with this week? And it's a bit lazy. Like the Broserweights were amazing, and RK Bro were amazing, and I think they're still trying to recapture that magic again. Yeah. But it's fine. It's all right.
I think I'm hoping it's all leading to him. He wants to find a replacement for Randy. Randy will suddenly come back. He'll be so happy, and then Randy will just turn heel on him straight away. As you can see, my booking right now is just turn everybody on the roster heel. I'm only joking. But now let's move on. And let's move on to the biggest babyface, or one of the biggest babyfaces on the Raw roster right now, and that is Mr. Chad Gable, as he took on Giovanni Vinci. And this is, of course, ahead of Chad Gable's Intercontinental Championship shot against Gunther. Gable got the victory very quickly, leading to Gunther getting mad and challenging Otis. Gunther beat Otis fairly quickly as well. They were fun matches, nothing special. On the Wrestling Republic scale, they were considered squash matches because of the length of them. But they were both, they were both fun. Gunther had a good promo. And then after the match, Gunther was still fuming because Gable managed to suplex him. And it is now official that next week, which will be about 18 days before Gunther beats the record reign for the Intercontinental Championship, 18 days before that, he will have to take on Chad Gable for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, there's a lot of people speculated online that they just have a feeling that Chad Gable may do the impossible here. Chaos, do you think that Chad Gable is going to be walking out of Monday Night Raw next week as Intercontinental Champion?
No. It's like there's no way. Like right now, the WWE is in this position or in the mood of breaking records right now, and they've done it with almost every other title. And the Intercontinental Championship is next in line. I mean, it's about time I'm pretty sure they're tired of being linked to the Honky Tonk Man. So, if they've done it long enough, it's gotta be. Chad Gable's gonna be very close. And he's one of them kind of, he can put out those performances that can make you believe that he might just do an upset. It's going to be a great match, 110%. But I kind of wish that, correct me, I don't know if the date's all right. When Payback happens, is he just before he passes it, or is it just
I think it's after? The Thursday after Payback. He passes you think that's the record date. I think it's the Thursday after Payback.
Right. Okay. So I kind of wish that this happened at Payback, because that's the closest that you're gonna get that he could just about stop it. I was really disappointed that they said they're gonna do it next week, because in my mind that pretty much just the lines in the sand right now. So it's gonna be a great match. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, there's no chance that Chad Gable's gonna win it. It's just gonna be just a little bit Be a bit close, probably the closest out of everyone that Gunther's faced besides Sheamus. So yeah, it's unfortunate though. But I'm happy to see Chad Gable get this little resurgence. Because he's a great wrestler, and he deserves the world. It's to the point where you've actually forgotten that he was actually called Shorty G once upon a time. So yeah, I'm happy for him. But yeah, he's not gonna win. He's not gonna. I'll be very surprised if he's gonna win. But yeah, no.
Yeah, numero one Superfly agrees with you there too, Chaos, that he would have preferred to see it at Payback. However, whatever reason, he kind of wants to see Otis eat a hot dog in front of Gunther. Just as that's the most random comment we've ever had. I love it.
One note kind of similar to this, Mike. It actually has nothing to do with it, but on the subject of kind of the difference in things. Great call from Michael Cole, and I say this with slight sarcasm. During the Gunther versus Otis match, in which Wade Barrett was making a good point that Gunther would not want to lose to somebody who he perceives as a clown, which is Otis being the kind of comedy character. To which Michael Cole responds, "Doink was also a clown, and he was dangerous." Thanks, Michael, for your expert insight. That's why they pay you the big bucks, buddy.
That's why he's on both shows right now. But we've got Clark Taylor, he's on his day off today, and he's in the comments saying Gunther is going to lose the title to Bron Breakker at WrestleMania 40. I mean, I wouldn't mind that. I think Bron Breakker's got potential.
One of the two people to beat him clean since he came to WWE, him and Dragunov.
I'd be down for it. I truly would be. I like I mentioned Clarkson. He's got a day off today because he said he needs to, go to AEW Dynamite. Oh wait, that's tomorrow. He's done it again.
Yeah. To be fair, I kind of hope that he doesn't keep the title up. I want him to actually challenge for the title, the main title before then. If not, maybe that could be at Mania. I just want him to get over the hurdle of being the longest Intercontinental Champion, because once he does that, that even solidifies him to be a worthy contender for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
When he does lose it, he's going to be hungry and gunning for that. And Seth is in big trouble if he's still champion by then when that happens. But I want that to be by the end of this year at least, 110%.
I say Rollins Gunther Mania. Save it for Mania, because that's the world title match at Mania, I'd say.
We've seen the match already. Seth Rollins won in 4 minutes. We've seen it happen.
Oh gosh!
Vince gave that to us when we came to the UK. What more do you want? They beat him. They beat Walter twice on the same night. I love to see it.
I try to ignore. I try to forget these things, David. I try to forget.
That's what I'm saying.
You bring them back.
Gone through the Rumble, and then Seth. Everything just blacked out. But yeah, fair enough.
Oh gosh! But now let's move on, and let's move on to the World Heavyweight Championship. Because, of course, last week, Nakamura broke Seth Rollins' heart when he kicked him in the face with a Kinshasa. And now Shinsuke Nakamura is a heel. Like I said earlier this year when, Seth became champion, there's not many heels on Raw. They need to turn some people heel. One of the people who I said could and probably should turn heel is Nakamura, and they have now done it. So Nakamura came out for an interview with David's favorite Michael Cole, and Nakamura mostly spoke in Japanese during this promo, but he ended each sentence in a line in English, right? And that was, it conveyed to the crowd what, he was talking about or whatever. I would have actually preferred this, to be honest with you, if Nakamura just spoke in Japanese. So, nobody would have an idea what he's on about. And then when people, Google Translate it or whatever, it just comes across as over and over again. He's just saying, the World Heavyweight Championship, the World Heavyweight Championship. That's his answer to everything. So it's still, even once you break the code, you still don't really know why exactly he turned on Seth. Is it really for more than the gold? Because like Seth said, he could have asked him and he would have given him a title shot. But I enjoyed this segment. The crowd were dead for it. They really, really were. I'm excited for this feud. I'm excited to see where it goes. But yeah, my only complaint at all is I would have liked it to, all be in Japanese. But David, give me your thoughts on this.
I feel like this was a very well-delivered promo that also kind of buried Nakamura. Nakamura looked awesome, actually, and I really liked the promo, like the way that it was delivered. The problem is, Nakamura isn't in a good place right now, and he hasn't been for a while, in terms of his standing in the company. He's just turned on the biggest face in the company. This is his chance to kind of set up who his character is going forward. Now, I went and found a subtitled version of this promo. online, so I could see what Nakamura
Ooh.
actually said. And he was extremely cold. It was actually a very cool promo, because he was basically just saying, look, kind of what we all think, I'm not the man I used to be. I want the title. I want to get back to the Shinsuke Nakamura I used to be, and I want to beat Seth. And when Michael Cole asked, why did you have to kick him in the head? He went, because that was the fastest way to get to it. Great line. Really, really well delivered. And that justifies it. I think they should have. I don't hate the all in Japanese idea, but I would have rather it been a vignette or a sit down interview backstage with Michael Cole with it subtitled, so that the audience had some idea, and then have Seth come out and do his promo, have Nakamura come out, them have a stare down, and that be the promo. And them accept the match and do the handshake. Because I thought Nakamura looked great, and I think had you been able to understand the promo, because the crowd didn't, they just wanted it.
Yeah,
which is a fail, really.
It depends, because I think that was the reaction he was looking for. In fact,
yeah, but I don't think that works. I don't think it was, because I don't think that doesn't make me invested in Nakamura. That makes me, because then Seth basically came out and said, right, enough of that, and everybody cheered him. So that actually makes Nakamura look a little bit rubbish. I think that I get what they were going for. I get the idea of trying to get heat that way. I don't think it worked. I think the crowd weren't angry confused. They weren't booing confused. They were just a bit like, oh, enough of this. And that's just how I personally felt. And I think Nakamura is amazing. And I love Nakamura, and I always have. And I want the old Nakamura back. I want that New Japan King of Strong style back. And I think if they'd have just done the promo, framed a bit better backstage, with the audience been able to understand it through subtitles, do those things, I think you could have just got that emotion over a little bit more, because you've got to capitalize on a big angle, and just delaying it with that Japanese stuff, which the audience can't understand because there are no subtitles, didn't quite work for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, if they were to do it like they did it, I think it should have been. I think Michael Cole should have gotten more frustrated throughout it too. Where Nakamura just answering in Japanese, and Michael Cole's like, but why, but why, but why? And then Seth comes out and he's like, tell me why. Nakamura won't even say why, and that's how you kind of frustrate them. You get them under people's skins a little bit, but that's not how they did it. They did partly in Japanese, and they said what it was, and the crowd, you're right, they weren't into it at all. But now let's talk about something else, which the crowd weren't into, and that was Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus. We've spoken about this for months, right? We've spoken about this for months and months and months. This has been, a big women's feud on Raw. It's taken, time away from Rhea Ripley's championship reign, if we're being honest about it. But it was built up well for the most part, all leading to this in Canada, and the crowd was dead for it. Completely and utterly dead. As far as the crowd knew, this was Trish's last match. That was what a lot of people were speculating. And I mean, the match was... it was mid, and then obviously it had a double count out. So it's clearly not the end. It was clearly not the blow-off match. There's more plans for it, whatever. I didn't like it at all. You built this up for months. You took it off SummerSlam. It feels like they're wasting our time, and they're dragging this out too long now. It really does. Zoe Stark, of course, was banned from ringside, but then when they went to concession stand, Zoe Stark was there. It felt very predictable at that point. This feud's gone on too long. It's time to finish it. They're doing the steel cage match now. I feel like this is the way which Trish Stratus is going to go out. And I don't actually think it's going to do her justice. And that's the most frustrating part here. But Chaos, give me your thoughts on this one. Do you think I'm being a bit too harsh about it?
Oh God, this was painful. No, you pretty much hit it right on the head. I was not looking for. I could care less about this going into this this match. And yeah, even I'm sorry, it was background noise for me. It was just not gripping me. The crowd was not into it. They could care less. Again, this is another one where they just have little chemistry. I mean, like the match at in Saudi, that was better. That was better, but for some reason they just didn't click this tonight. And then when it came to the double count out, I literally shouted, "What is this garbage?" Like, it was just like, what are we doing here? Why can't we not have a definitive finish? I mean, we're in Canada. This will be a great send off. I mean, this must be the reason why you took it off SummerSlam, to try and wrap this up in a random episode of Raw. But you decided to do a random count out, and then they started brawling backstage. I can't remember the last time I've seen someone get damaged from plushies. Trish was throwing all these plushies and toys at Becky, and she was selling them. And then randomly, you see Trish, she went underneath, and then she started just doing this. randomly started doing this. Like, why is she doing that? Why is she like just modeling shirts and Seth Rollins' shirt all of a sudden? It was just so random. And then you just see Zoe start come out of nowhere, and then it just ends up with a botched chick kick. It was just like, what are we doing here? Why are we dragging this out? No one cares. They always say they gauge from what the response from the crowd. The crowd has not been, the interest in this has not been that hot for a long time. Why are they dragging this out? It doesn't make any sense for anybody. I know probably it's just obviously give Becky something to do if she's not challenging for the title, but yeah, I don't know where to go from here. I don't think there's any way back from this. It was all crap. I'm sorry. It was just, yeah, it just did nothing for nobody. Ran over. I'm done. Get this off my screen, please. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm feeling the exact same way. Oh no, I'm gonna pass it to David, but based on your expression, David, I have a feeling you feel the same.
Exactly.
Just book the cage match this week. What? Like, if this was the Canada match, why do it? Like, it was 10 minutes and nothing. I genuinely like for all the hate Baron Corbin and Gable Steveson got, I thought this was worse. I enjoyed Corbin versus Steveson more than I enjoyed this. This was just, it had the same rubbish double count out finish, but like, I mean, this makes a bit more sense, I suppose, because the feud. But it's just, do you know women haven't main evented a Raw since April?
Oh wow!
Since the beginning of April, that was 2 weeks after Mania, it was the women's tag title main event. Since then, women haven't main evented a show. This would have been the perfect opportunity to just blow it off. It's like, put it in the... Zoe's interfered enough. You don't need Zoe... You didn't have to have... And also, Zoe didn't interfere because the match was over. The match was over. The double count out had happened. So Zoe could have interfered at any point she wanted because the match was done. Yeah, they ended in a double count out, and then Adam Pearce went, "Oh, Zoe Stark interfering." She didn't interfere because the match was done. They brawled into the crowd themselves. That's their fault. I mean, the match, I don't begrudge them the botch off the Trish trying to do the thing up to the top and it not go into plan. Stuff happens. Botches really don't bother me in matches. Genuinely, they don't. It's wrestling is fake. Sometimes these things happen. What was a lot more unforgivable is just how boring it was, because I don't think either women were that interested in it, because they were like, well, we're going to finish in a double cut. There was just that whole vibe through the whole thing of, I don't really care. Because this isn't the end of the story. It's complete waste of time. The crowd were unfathomably dead, and I don't really blame them. Because they just didn't, as much as I love Trish and I love Becky and I like this feud a lot, there's just been nothing to think. You either put it on SummerSlam and give it a blow off, or you just put it on Payback and give it a blow off there and don't do this match, or you just put it on Raw now and have done with it. Yeah. And I think there are much better things you can do with Lynch, much better things you can do with Zoe, much better things you can do with Trish, with all of them. I thought the Night of Champions match was really good. I liked the Night of Champions match an awful lot because it had a brutality. This just had nothing at all. It's just a complete waste, and I feel bad for being this angry about it because I love these women, and but this was the reason I tuned into this, was excited for this episode, because they didn't announce anything else. This was this was what they announced. This was their big match for Raw this week.
I have a theory. I have a theory about it. Right. Cool. We know about Becky, she did the lemons tweet, that, when life gives you lemons or whatever, make lemonade. And I was really surprised that WWE, went so far into this. The fact that they were acknowledging it on commentary, they've released shirts now. I was like, well, they've taken it really well for once. I'm recklessly speculating here, but what if they didn't take it well? And this is kind of revenge.
This is punishment.
Well, I think if they did that, why book the cage match? Why not just end it like this?
What happens if that's a bad finish too? What happens, because we've seen it before.
Until we see it, we won't know. I just don't know why we've dragged this out a few extra weeks for no reason.
Great point.
Yeah. Especially when Baszler. Where was Baszler this week? Baszler's doing stuff with Becky. Nowhere. She was on Raw Talk. Yay!
I didn't even know.
And she said, you know what she said on Raw Talk?
What?
Absolutely nothing. That's what she said on Raw Talk. Said the same thing she said last week. So, it was just... what is the point of Raw Talk, by the way? Because Nakamura was on there as well and said nothing. Why have it? What's the point? Sorry, that rant over.
Yeah,
but
before we all blow this virtual setup with our anger about this feud, let's bring this show to a close. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back here the same time tomorrow for AEW Dynamite preview show, and later tonight, 15 minutes following NXT, we'll have wrestling off the air with Clark, Shard, and Drizzy. So make sure to tune in for that as well.
Quick plug. Tier list as well. Take It to the Table is up now of WWE Champions 2009 to 2019. Go and check it. Me, myself, Soul, and Clark is on it. Go check that out. Yeah,
must watch. That's truly must watch. Make sure you guys do. If you're on Spotify, please leave a 5-star. If you're on Twitch, please leave a follow. And if you're on YouTube, thumbs up and subscribe would be very much appreciated. We're here every day. Thank you, Chaos. Thank you, David. And thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow.